What's up, lads? It's your boy Bandana-Boi, and your boy is here to talk about his predictions for UFC 329. I'm not a mixed martial artist, but I do love the game. And let's get straight into this. It's crazy to think that Robert Whittaker is on the prelims. He is the favorite, and he is moving up to light heavyweight. He has been predominantly a middleweight, and he has now decided to move up, and we shall see if he is gonna have the same fate as his fellow Australian Adesanya, or is he gonna have a different fate against Nikita Krylov? Nikita Krylov is a pretty good top 10, top 15, opponent, but he is kind of streaky. He's been chinned multiple times, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby Knuckles is able to put him. With that being said, the odds are very close. And him going up in weight is another very, very big thing. Is the weight difference gonna slow him down? We saw it earlier this year with, for example, Alex Pereira fighting Sandhagen. He did look a bit more sluggish than he is usually at middleweight and light heavyweight. With that being said, Alex Pereira was putting on so much weight. Robert Whittaker isn't putting on as much, but still, is he used to it? I think I'm gonna go with Robert Whittaker. I think Robert Whittaker wins this by KO/TKO. Nikita Krylov, he is a veteran of the game, but I just think Robert Whittaker is a bit too crisp when it comes to the boxing. Now let's move on to the main event. We have King Green versus Terrance Mckinney, where Terrance Mckinney is coming on as the slight favorite. I've watched King Green, and King Green is old. That is his only problem. He's a very entertaining fighter. He was on like a 3-fight losing streak, but recently he's actually gone back his form and he's won 2 or 3. So we said in the fight game, he's not washed, but it just goes back to his experience gonna be able to outweigh the young gun. King Green is almost 40 if I'm not mistaken, and Terrance Mckinney is a submission specialist and he's 31 years old. For that reason, I do think Terrance Mckinney wins. If it doesn't go to the mat, I do think Bobby Green wins the striking battle. But otherwise, I am gonna pick Terrance Mckinney via submission. Next up, we have an amazing flyweight bout between Brandon Royval and Lenore Kavanagh. Brandon Royval is coming off 2 losses. That Joshua Van loss, which was a fight of the year contender. It was an amazing fight. And Manel Kape, who knocked him out in the first round. So it makes sense. But I feel like people forget that Brandon Royval is an amazing striker. This guy is so good, and it just seems to be that after he went to war with Joshua Van, somehow he's now disrespected. With that being said, I think this is gonna be a really, really fun striking bout. So I'm not even sure who I'd pick here. I hope this goes the distance, and I hope it's just as fun as the Van versus Royval fight, because that was truly a spectacle. And I wouldn't be surprised if either of these flyweights is able to just outclass the other on the feet and get knocked. I'm not gonna even pick no one for this one. Moving on, we have Cory Sandhagen versus Mario Bautista, and I am so excited for this one. Cory Sandhagen is coming off a loss in his title fight against Merab Dvalishvili, and Mario Bautista is coming off the win against Vinicius Oliveira. We would have liked to see at the White House event Cory Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley, but unfortunately they couldn't do that, and this is still an amazing fight. Mario Bautista won his last fight against Vinicius Oliveira, and even though Cory Sandhagen is coming off a loss, it's against the former champ Merab Dvalishvili. I do favor Cory Sandhagen. His arsenal is just way too deep. I don't think Mario Bautista is gonna stand and trade with Cory. He's gonna try to grapple him, try to take him down, and that's probably gonna be his best bet. Cory is extremely experienced, and I do feel like he is just more well-rounded. He's only fighting the best of the best, and he's only really losing to the top 3 ranked bantamweight. So for that reason, I am gonna pick Cory, and I think it'll go the distance, and he will win by decision. Next up, for the co-main event of the evening, we have BSD versus Paddy Pimblett, and this fight is on their bank. I don't know if they're gonna strike or not. Both fighters are pretty scrappy, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do put on a show in terms of striking. But at the same time, both fighters aren't exactly afraid of the ground game. Paddy Pimblett got his good jiu-jitsu, and BSD got some great grappling. I wonder if this fight is gonna be a strike bout, or if it's gonna be a grappling or jiu-jitsu. BSD is currently on a 4-fight win streak against some pretty good opponents. He's knocked out Dan Hooker and Benil Dariush in his last two fights, and Paddy just came off the loss against Justin Gaethje. With that being said, it is not a bad loss. It is against the current champ. However, I just think BSD has too much experience under his belt because BSD has fought Dustin Poirier and Renato Moicano, and he lost to them, and then he went on that 4-fight win streak, and he's out here knocking out every single opponent that he faces. He's an absolute machine, and I think Paddy is good. A lot of people were saying that he got fraud checked after the Justin Gaethje fight, but I don't think that's the case. Justin just had a pretty good game plan. Paddy could have done better, and I'm sure that he has learned from that fight. And I feel like Paddy doesn't have the experience that he needs right now to be able to go out there and compete with BSD and beat him up as he would like. With that being said, BSD is the slight favorite, and I wouldn't be surprised if Paddy is able to get a finish. It's gonna be an entertaining bout, I'm sure, and I am extremely excited to see this one. I'm gonna favor BSD by stoppage. And now for the main event of the evening, Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. And this is gonna be at the welterweight division. So that's the really interesting thing. The main thing going to this fight is the weight. Max Holloway used to fight at featherweight, and so did Conor. And now they are both fighting two weight classes up in the welterweight division. After the very big layoff that McGregor had, which is 5 or 6 years, the last time he fought was in 2020 against Dustin Poirier. It's insane to think that he's actually coming back to fight. We all know who he is. He's one of the slickest and cleanest strikers out there in UFC history. But so is Max Holloway. And the big thing is always McGregor has looked kinda bigger at welterweight. Even though Max Holloway is going up, and this is the second time he's going up a weight class, where now he's going up to welterweight, I definitely favor Max Holloway. He's been much more active, fighting the better opponents, and the same guy who beat McGregor the last two times, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway was able to piece him up and win against him. It's hard not to say that Max is gonna take this win, but we shall see this revamped version of Conor McGregor. What is he gonna bring to the table? Because he's no longer gonna be as fast, he's no longer gonna be as reactionary, because he can't be. His senses were just too good in his prime. Currently, he's had a very long layoff, and no matter how good the training was, it is hard to get back to that prime that you had in like your late 20s to early 30s. I am extremely excited to see these two fight, and Conor McGregor is truly an absolute showman. In the press conferences, he does so well to hype up the event and make you feel like you're watching an absolute spectacle. And that's exactly what you want from these UFC events. This event isn't even held in a major place like the Sphere or the White House, and yet it feels like it's the biggest card of the year after UFC White House. And that just has to do with the superstardom that comes with Conor McGregor. And kudos to him, he is just so good on the mic, and he gets the fans engaged. That's what invites the fans. We shall see how he looks against Max Holloway. And if he's able to get a win, he has talked about wanting to chase that third belt. I don't know if he'll be able to in the welterweight division, but when you have a star as big as Conor, if he's able to get a statement win in a knockout against Max Holloway, there is no reason for you not to push him straight to the top and make him go for that welterweight title bout. And even if it might be a privilege, while I wouldn't exactly like it, since I do feel there are more worthy contenders in the welterweight division, especially with how stacked it is right now, I wouldn't exactly be against it either. Because we want to see him fight the best of the best, and if he's chasing history, why not help him make it? Because of how much he has done for the promotion. With that being said, lads, I am gonna pick Max Holloway. I think he gets a stoppage maybe in the third or fourth round, and I just hope that it's a really fun striking bout. I hope that neither of them resort to grappling, even though McGregor does have a bit of a grappling background. So we hope it's fun, and we hope it's not like Max's last fight against Oliveira. Again, I absolutely love Oliveira, but unfortunately, for the BMF belt, you don't want it to be a slugfest in which you're just backpacking the guy the entire time. With that being said, lads, tell me what y'all's predictions are. Who do you think is gonna win? And what fight are you excited for the most? I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And that's all from me, boy. Juice!